go. It's Guido coming at you with a tank review and the final tank to review in the new Polish TD line. Now, this is the Tier 9. I'm probably not going to do the Tier 10. I don't know if I've done a Tier 10 review in quite a while. Usually I buy those and they sit around. I will eventually get to the Tier 10 reviews when I start playing the Tier 10s for the 100 Battle Challenge, start cleaning some of those things up. For now, the last one I'll review is the Tier 9, and this is a really good one, guys. It's a good line overall. I would say the Tier 9 is a bit of a monster for sure. Here it is in the garage. As you can see, Wargaming says it's an assault tank destroyer. We're going to talk a bit about that because the answer to that is kind of, actually. Or the answer to the question, is it really an assault tank destroyer? The answer is kind of. Kind of. So what does Wargaming say about this? These have all been basically fake or tanks taken from, fake is a strong word here, tanks taken from plans or designs that didn't get very far, let's put it that way. In 1960, a project, the Gonkiewicza heavy tank destroyer appeared in Poland. Well-armored vehicle was supposed to have good mobility. Supposed to have good mobility. They all are when you write them up, man. When you draw that out on the paper, they're going to be very mobile and have the best gun and some amazing fire control. Anywho's, to achieve this, it was to be equipped with a small but powerful engine. Sure, yeah, 100%. We're going to have a small but extremely powerful, very lightweight engine. Right, yes. Variants of GT1, gas turbine, yeah, you're right on. Jet engine in my tank. With a projected 1,000 horsepower, documentation on the engine was provided by the Soviet Union. Yeah, it's how you know it's real. Which also shared materials on deep rifled guns with its Polish colleagues. Wow, there's a lot of magic in this tank for sure. On the whole, the project was a success, but the vehicle was never built. I mean, on paper, fellas, this was a smashing success. Now I see why it's designed the way it is. We perhaps maybe should not have believed the papers as much, but we'll get into that. That's hilarious. All right, that explains a lot. I hadn't read that till right then. All right, here she is. It's a casemate TD. Like the rest of the line, it's only 5 degrees azimuth. That is one of the negatives. It's a bit painful right there. It does have minus 7 degrees of gun depression, so that's almost the whole line, 5 degrees either way and 7 degrees for gun depression. That is usable, but it's not as comfortable as minus 10 is on the maps. That's more or less where this game is designed, for minus 10. So you will be futzing around just a little bit trying to get your gun online. Remember that somebody brought this up on another review, and it's a good point. When you hit the stop, several things are going to happen. First, your bloom is going to increase because your hull is going to start moving. So not only will it be the bloom increase for the whole 5 degrees of gun you got, the hull will start to move. That will be another bloom. Oh, by the way, you will break your camo at that point. So it is a bit of a futzy kind of tank to drive around and fight. So it is an assault TD. You want to get in their face, but sometimes it can be difficult to get on the gun online, and you're going to be getting a lot of bloom problems. That being said, it can snipe to some extent. We'll talk about the stats and all that here in just a minute. I had a really good crew in it. In fact, actually, this is it. This is the crew that I brought through the whole line. They had 4 skills working on their 5th, so pretty darn good crew. As far as the crew layout goes, it's exactly the same as the rest of the line. Commander, gunner, driver, loader, all good, with the commander having the radio man's skills. The way I set mine up then is going to be, I'm using bounty on everything. I've got a rammer, I've got vents, I've got an IA, 17 rounds of regular ammo, 20 APCR, and 8 HE. You don't have too much trouble with the ammo on this particular tank. I am running food. I do have brothers in arms. I did not run a directive of any kind right there. Let's take a quick look at one of the strengths of this tank, of the many. The regular round is rocking 1,700 meters a second. Look at this APCR. I don't know if there's a faster round in the game. I haven't dug around too much. I thought maybe the Leopard, because that's known to have a laser beam. Do you realize the Leopard's only 1,600? And this thing is 2,000. Now remember, it does have the game mechanic where the damage will fall off the further away the shots are. Let's take a quick look at that right now since we're already talking about it. It is 800. In fact, it doesn't show that mess right here. Oh my goodness, this is... Sometimes finding the data you want in this game is pretty funny. Maybe if I just hover here. 300 to 800. That kind of gives you the general idea. Somewhere between 300 and 800 is an average. So out towards 500 meters is going to be half of the 800 alpha. That's 400. 400 with the plus or minus 25% RNG. It could be all the way down to 300. Penetration-wise, we're looking at 321 with gold, 292 with the regular round. I will say that the standard gun, the stock gun, is actually not that bad. Has a little bit less pen, but I think it's sitting at 700 alpha and enough pen to be competitive. So it will not be too painful to be running around with the stock gun. I did play a few games with the stock gun. I might even have a game or two to show you. I might have one game with the stock gun, to be honest. I'll have to take a look at it. But it wasn't painful. I did have to actually unlock all of the modules on this tank because I didn't have enough free XP left over from the tier 8. I'd actually run out. Alright, so that's my setup. I talked about the crew. We talked about how they're set up. Let's do a quick comparison here. If I press the right button. So what I have done here, and this goes back to my discussion a bit earlier about, is this really an assault TD? So we've got two of the famous assault TDs, the Tortoise and the T95, probably T95 being the top of the class and just big old brutish assault TV. And we've got this WZ 111 GFT, which is considered a, what do they call it? It's considered a versatile tank destroyer. So I wanted to compare those because honestly, and I don't get too locked down on these roles that Wargaming decides the tank have to have. It's fine for a general overall broad brush. Clearly, you don't want to say your Grill 15 is an assault TD, right? But your role in the game kind of depends on a lot of things. Could be the situation, could be the matchmaker, could be the tiering, all kinds of stuff. So don't get too wrapped up with that, but we will discuss it a little bit in here because this is called an assault TD, and I'm bringing it up quite a bit here because I think that's probably the best place to play it because you're talking about an 800 alpha. But let's just look at the numbers first, and we'll get into that a little bit more. 800 alpha, as noted, that's well above the Tortoise. It is above the T95 and the 750 of the WZ. So these are, other than things like the FV series and a few other outliers maybe, the 750 alpha is kind of the big stick in the game, at least in terms of a standard big stick. This thing's rocking an 800 alpha, all right? Gun loading is impressive at 14.38. Look at this. 50 more alpha and considerably faster than both these two tanks, which if we come down here, it gets us to a pretty unbelievable DPM of 3,338. Now the Tortoise is rocking at 3,500, but remember he's hitting for 400 alpha. The T95 lugging around that big old gun at 750 only has a 2,470 DPM, whereas the WZ has 2,600. You see what I'm getting at here is this thing has an insane amount of DPM. If you're close, that's the thing. If you're close and you're getting the 800 alpha. Now you won't always be close in the game. Sometimes you have to take a sniper shot, or you've been forced into that situation based on the situation in the match, yada yada. But if you can leverage the 800 alpha close in, it's quite the beast. So the question becomes, well, can it leverage it? Well, let's look at survivability. 190 190 armor is not in the league of the T95 or even the Tortoise at 273 and 305, despite the weak spots of hatches and whatnot on these two. That just doesn't really cut it, does it? And even the WZ, a supposed versatile TD, only has 200, which is 10 more. Now the angling is decent, the layout is okay-ish, but it's certainly not at the WZ 111 GFT level. Still, the 200 point, as we've mentioned multiple times, is sort of a break point in World of Tanks. If you have more than 200, you're getting into good to great armor. If you have less than 200, it gets worse and worse as you go. This is right in the occasionally useful zone. We'll look at my stats here in a minute and how I've done with it. So that's very interesting. Hit points wise, it's a little lower than the Tortoise, but on par with the other three guys. Okay, so armor, assault, maybe. Okay, I'll give that one a maybe. Mobility wise, this is a little bit where it shines and has a weakness. So number one, look at that top speed at 42, guys. Zinging, compared to the T95 and the Tortoise, I mean, this is an absolute blazer. And it's 7 more than the WZ, which is actually a fairly sprightly, heavy, big TD. Holy cow. So I'm lugging an 800 alpha, potentially gun, with me. I'm doing 42. I have okay-ish armor, so that's what we got going on. And I actually kind of glossed over the gun handling here. It's at 0.36. It's not tortoise nice at 0.3, right? But it's just as good as a T95 750 Alpha or the WZ, and the aim time is in the same ballpark as well at 2.59. Okay. So gun handling is okayish. That's made better by getting closer, right? It's easier to hit. You have less negatives from bad gun handling. Remember hitting the stops and all the other stuff that happens with bloom. Okay, casemate TD. That's something to take into consideration. But I'm doing 42 now. I do have a traverse of 31.29, which is better than these three, but not great. So it is much like the Tortoise or the T95 in that it can be circled pretty badly. You're going to have a hard time. If you can keep people in front of you, you're great. I've had multiple issues here where I got in too close with somebody thinking I'm just going to come face hug and hurt them, and they're just right by. And you're just not going to track anyone. Even fairly fast heavies are going to get past you pretty easily. So watch out for that. Your traverse is a bit of a balancing factor right there. The -7 gun depression, bit of a balancing factor right there. Concealment wise, it's a great big old TD. It's not bad at 17, but you're not really relying on your camo with this thing. And 360 view range is atrocious. It's down at the bottom with the T95, so it just really doesn't do very good spotting for itself. So what do we have here? It's an interesting combination if we think about whether this is an assault or a versatile. I think it happens to be more of a versatile. Again, I don't get too crazy about that, but I would think about it that way when you drive it. And honestly, I think about all my tanks that way. I always think they're versatile. They can do what I need them to do as best I can. But this one wants to be close for the Alpha. So it's not T95, herder, hit me, you can't pen me assault. It is be clever, get up front, and slap them with an 800, get reloaded and do it again, and leverage that insane alpha or insane DPM, and I'll show you what mine got to 3,338 as it's set up here with no stuff. So very interesting. I think it sort of lives in between that versatile idea and the assault idea, and understand, we'll go ahead and actually click on it, and understand that it wants to be close. It does. It just wants to be close. So with my setup now, because when I do the comparison, there's no equipment, no skills, no consumables, etc. With running the equipment that I have, the consumables to include food, brothers in arms going on, all that good stuff. If we look over here, we are getting an 11.42 gun reload with an 800 Alpha. That's nuts. All right. -7, that's not helped. 0.3 dispersion, fellas, with everything I've got here. Okay, that's the IA giving us a little bit of a hand and some other things. Look at this DPM, 4,204. Again, that's close, right? You got to be there where you're getting the full 800 Alpha. Very nice. Nothing else I'm doing here is really helping much. Still 42, so I'm not running a turbo. You could do that. I don't think it air quotes needs it, but if you want a little mobility, I don't really know what you would drop out of these three. Probably some people would do without the IEA and say, whatever, I'll accept the 0.1 or 0.2, the negative that I get out of it. Is it going to show us here if we go up to dispersion? Let's see what the IA is actually giving us. 0.03, that's actually pretty nice, to be quite honest. 0.03, so you'd be giving up 0.03, so you'd have a 3.3 dispersion, and maybe you want to put a turbo on there. So it's something to think about. Potentially rotation device, I don't know, I might stay away from that. You could go with the experimental turbo, which gives you some gun handling stuff. I think that's definitely an option right there. So several other ways you could do it, but this is the way I did it to kind of tame that gun down. I wanted that thing to be accurate as it could be. So that's my setup. How did I do? I got 67% win rate. Now, I think I've played like 5 games. I want to say it took me 27, so maybe 6 games since I finished this thing up. I'm sitting currently at a 67% win rate, over 1,000 XP per game right there, fellas. Look at the armor use at 0.56. So remember, you're only 190. That's situational armor, as I said, so you're not going to rely on it, but situationally you'll get some bounces here and there. Lower tiers will struggle at times with it, especially like 7s if for some reason you're in a tier 7 game bullying those poor guys. They may struggle with 190, but it's enough to be up near the front or close enough to get the 800 Alpha, but not enough to go, I'm a T95 Assault TD. That's really where this thing lives with its armor. 77% hit rate, that'll work for me. I've survived 51%. I'm averaging 2,463. 317 assists, as you might expect. It's a casemate TD. So overall doing nice. I had a 4,951 damage game, and I'm probably going to show you that one, I believe. We will dispense with going over the armor, but let's take a look at how it's doing overall. Look at its stats. So as noted, guys, check it out. I mean, right now it's number 3. No, it's not. Let's do this correctly. There we go. It's number 2 in overall win rate. It does have a high player win rate ranking right now, so good players are playing it. I don't know if it'll necessarily stay there based on looking at this. That win rate will probably come down in terms of the players playing it, and it will slip down a little bit. But it has a couple negatives like we've talked about. Still, I think it's extremely, it's a very strong tank, right? I'm not going to say it's OP. It can be in the right situations, to be honest, with that 800 alpha and the fairly fast reload. As long as you're doing that, you're kicking out some good damage. But again, questionable armor, guys. You know, questionable armor. So you get in and start punching faces with tier 9s and especially tier 10s with this, you're probably not going to last a real long time. But you have to be smart. So it's doing pretty well. All right, let's take a look at some gameplay with the tier 9 Gonkiewicza. All right, looks like I might not have a stock gun battle that I kept on this one, but it just didn't bother me, to be quite honest. Here we are in a tier 9 and 8 battle. We're on Pearl River, and this is just kind of an example of showing this tank can kind of be whatever you need it to be quite honest. It can go brawl at the heavies. The only thing I would say you wouldn't want to consistently do with this, to be quite honest, is be more of a standoff sniper. Let's say you're running the grill with its 750 alpha, or you're running, let's talk about a tier 9, I suppose, would be the WT4 with slightly less alpha. Even a T95. Let's say you decide to snipe with a T95, right? Probably not my favorite idea of what to do with a T95, but at the very least, if you hit somebody at 499 meters, you know, you're still slapping them for 750. This thing's not. This thing's going to be 400 plus or minus 20. I mean, you could be in the 300s with a relatively long reload. That's fine if you're a tortoise and you're shooting again in 7 seconds, but that's not where you want to be with a tank like this. So it's just something to think about. So we're going to come up here because I know this spot. There's a couple things going on here as I'm going up here. I know I'm pretty damn fast, and I'm probably going to catch guys out right there. So unless they send a medium or a really fast heavy tank, which I don't see them having here, other than maybe the BZ-68 spending a bunch of rockets to get there. Or maybe a Skoda for some reason just decides to come up here and try to clip somebody, at which point I should be able to slap him for 800. So I figured I could probably get to this spot, get myself a free shot or two, and then assess. I do have some help. I've got a 777 and RBZ, and eventually it looks like the T95 will get here. He's nice and slow, but check out the difference in the speeds. I'm here, he's way back there. All right, bummer we missed. Didn't really have time to get fully zoomed. That's okay. Now this guy's going to give me some trouble here. He actually pins me, so good on him. And killed my driver, which is awesome. I think he's hitting my... Yeah, look at that. He went right through that little vision thing. So nicely done on his part. We're going to try to... Oh, geez. Let's get out of there. Oh, he got me again. Son of a gun. All right, so that's a bummer. We slapped that dude for 739, and now we're going to back out. So he gets another shot on me, which is amazing. Unfortunately, that hatch is on my left side, which is harder for me to hide from him. And he's just tearing us up. This guy takes a little while to get rid of because he is a major pain in the rear. Relatively fast reload, shooting a bunch of APCR, just absolutely eating me alive right now. I don't know if you noticed that, but as I'm kind of wiggling around, there's that problem with the azimuth. My gun keeps blooming, and it can be difficult zooming in and getting shots. Just like, yeah, it's not easy. I was really hoping the BZ would just go down there, push that guy, I'd come down, and we could shut him down really quickly, but I don't know why, but he's not interested, and I've lost half my hit points to a tier 8. And we eat another shot. I mean, that's just absolutely atrocious. And now I'm sort of irritated, right? I've lost 1,000 hit points to this guy. He's pinned me 4 times. Can't quite get a shot. I got to get away from this BZ because he's just causing me problems here. I thought he might go down low and come at that guy. And I thought, okay, go down low, push him, and then he doesn't do anything. He just does that. I'm checking left because I want to see if the other guys are suffering. We're actually starting to lose, and I'm figuring that we have to get rid of this guy. I'm going to have to come around here, see if I can put a great big old hit on him. Maybe the BZ will see this. I'm like, uh-oh, there's a dude right there. What on earth? All right, so we shoot him. I'll be honest, I don't know if I guess I just didn't notice that I've lost a driver. So that's going to make this turn. Look how painful it is. And, of course, I got a driver I'm missing. And he bails me out, goes back. And I smash him for 652. I don't know when I actually noticed my driver's dead. That's pretty unusual for me, to be honest. I miss a lot of stuff in this game, but that's not one I generally miss. This guy just comes by me. I'm like, come on, man. There we go. And we eat a big one. We're down to a one-shot. That's not good. 777. I'm not really sure what he goes all the way by. Turns around this way, and then I don't know what he's doing. He's like, oh, I'll just go the long way around. No sense getting my gun in the game. I'll just go the long way around. Finally fixed my driver. Oh, he missed. All right, better lucky than good. But check that out. I put another 30 on that guy. And that nice fast reload, you got to love it, man. You got to love it. And we shut that dude down. So 3,216. Not particularly well played against the Super. And well played by the Super player. Good on him. Thought about going around, but there's so many guys that can shoot across. The Udez, the Panther, the WZ. So I'm a little bit worried they might be out there. So kind of a long way. Still, it's got decent mobility. I'm typing in go back. Let's go back. Look at the two Skodas pressing the cap. If we can clean up their pushers while those 3 or 4 that are camping just sit there, that'll be good for us. So we'll cruise over here. My problem is I've given up so many hit points like a Muppet. I don't have a lot of options. I have to maintain not being seen. Now, initially I was going to go across. Then he shows up. I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, he's outside of my spotting circle, so let's just push back where I can get into some cover if I need to. Even though they kind of have a good direct shot, it will take me forever to get around the corner, but at least I'm not just driving across the open. Unfortunately, I can't go help them with the 54D. Now, there goes this dude. All right, let's put a shot on that guy. Nope, we'll just miss. Did you notice as I was trying to lead, because I hit the stop, it bloomed, that you're going to have to anticipate a lot with this tank. What I should have done was shifted the hole and then let it zoom in and wait for him to come across to that point. T95 guy shows up, so I'm going to take this opportunity to skedaddle across here. Maybe the Skoda will show himself. I think he's stuck. There he is. So check that out, guys. There's a great example. That's a 327. All right, so that's far enough away against him that I'm probably at the half regime, and I low rolled pretty significantly. That's a 327 on a potential 800 alpha gun. That's what happens when you take the sniper shots. The long range sniper shots, I suppose. So he's sitting at 600. If he was close enough, he'd be a one shot to me, but we're talking about 400 alpha shot. Kind of surprised that Udez didn't see me. He must have atrocious spotting. Just going to pop one where he was. Ah, we hit him good. He's still on the cap, though. I'm not really sure what our Udez is doing. We're not in huge trouble here, but they do have some Overwatch and some snipers. I was a little bit worried. Notice that a good number of our team pushed to their cap. Like, how many times have I said Muppet today? Like guys who push to the cap. And I'm thinking, oh, man, if someone's got to push across. I don't have the hit points. I'm hoping the T95 will, and he starts to go. He's full hit points, so he's the guy who has to do it. I don't have enough view range to see the Udez. He gets off the cap. That's very helpful. Dies. That's even more helpful. Kunza came across, went up the hill. Good on him. So now we got a better situation going on here. Move over here so I get a little better view in case I can say, oh, shoot. You know, he's pushing the Udez. That's good to know, though. If you notice, there's now only 2 guys left. One way down the south, and we've got the 8.8 up here. We've got 3,500 damage. This gets a little spicy, though, guys. I mean, notice that. Oh, man. I don't know if it's this game. Is it this game? It may be this game. There's a bunch of one-shots minus the T95. So the ship tick's alive. The 777's sitting on cap. Just watch what happens down there, fellas. I'm thinking I'm going to get some shots on the 8.8. I may be thinking of another game. This might end right here. I don't remember if that guy actually closes out the 777 or what happens with him. So we'll move across this way. Maybe we do just cap this out, to be honest. I've got some... Nope, he's pushing him. Does he win or die? I don't remember. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he dies. That's right. He dies. All right, so there goes our Udes. T95, I think, is going to sit on cap for the moment. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Our Udes, let's just timestamp 4 because I find him right here. The ship tick makes an effort. Here comes the Shrek. We're going to zing around this corner. I'll see him about right here. Take a quick shot and miss him. Not particularly well aimed either. He goes ahead and turtles up, and we'll just zing on in here. Good on him, and we kill him. All right, fantastic. So 3,656. There's actually a blind shot or two in there. I think I'm over 4,000 on this one. Probably the Udes shot, I'd imagine. Had some damage. You got 4 kills out of that. So kind of being what you got to be. Go in there, do some assault stuff, despite the fact that I didn't do it particularly well until I had no more hit points left. A little bit of sniper in the middle right there, right? And then a little bit of medium at the end with decent speed for me to get out there and track down this ship tick. With help, of course. Doing a little bit of everything with this tank. All right, next example. All right, for the second example, we're just gonna be a bully. I don't know what is going on with this. Well, I do know what's going on with this map. They've changed the valley and somehow made it more. What's the word I'm looking for? More. I don't know. I can't. Likeable. More. Enticing. Enticing. There you go. More enticing to the Muppets of the world. And they're all going to go in there and play hold down and yada yada. Oh, crit, no damage. Fully expected to take another shot right there. 430U's working on him. Nice. Keeps him tracked, which is helpful because that allows us to go zing, zing, zing and eat that. 676. You got to love it. Got to love it. He took a shot and hit the wall. So you get a lot of guys now going into the Bloody Valley. Of course, the enemy team puts several in there. When I looked at this, if you notice, the tier 10s, they're all mediums. So I looked at this setup and said, well, this is a pretty good game for me to go ahead and get myself into this brawling area here. I slapped the 268-5 who was busy looking at the object, and then we find this guy, and I get hit by the arty, which sucked. And get lucky on that shot, but I'll take another 659. So we've cranked 2013 out. I don't want to get hit by the 261 again because he's got that aimed in. There are 2 artillery. Now, I was sitting back on this, but they had enough tanks. I'm thinking, you know, if I get in there, the problem with the casemate kind of pushing in this situation is if I get up against those buildings, I have to look left and right. And look how many guys are down here now, and they're beating ours up. We've lost a bunch of hit points. So to be honest, I'm not interested in trying to push this right now. I'm going to need my team to prove that they can get some stuff done. And to some extent, that's leaving these guys out to dry just a bit. But they seem to be very adept at losing their hit points. So I don't want to be halfway across that open area, lose the 430 and the 1516 and be stuck. Good news is the 68 is sort of wised up. We're doing well over on the other side. We got 3 clowns in the middle. I don't know why we needed a Kunza and a Centurion in the middle there, but we got them. We got them. We certainly have them. I'm just hoping one of these guys makes a big mistake and comes around this corner, but they're probably not going to. They know I'm here, and I've smashed them a couple, 3 times hard. In fact, I hit 3 different tanks, although the 140's dead now, so. Kind of looking around. All right, what are we doing? Are we going to win in the valley? I feel like we are going to, but that is still to be determined. The BZ-68 and the 430 are looking around. The Udes has fallen back, so I think that's probably wise on his part. And we'll just wait here for a few potatoes and see if we can then start to bully ourselves through the rest of this city here. That guy pushes in. He gets beat up. All right, that's great. That's one of them down. That leaves 3 of them. They have their own Gonkiewicza in there, so he can hit just as hard as I can. 268/5 hits hard. Absolutely. And it looks like there's an object maybe in there as well. Something with an O. What is that exactly? 268/5. Right. And a Yag Tiger. That's the one. And the Yag Tiger just disintegrates, and there's my cue. That's my cue. We're looking really good. Let's push forward, grab up some more hit points. To be honest, I wish I'd have pushed up, but I have been left out to dry a few too many times in those situations. Now, I'm probably going to eat a shot from at least one of these TDs. This guy goes around the corner, which I kind of like because that's going to give me maybe an option right here. There we go. Oh, it's going to hurt. He's going to get me. All right. Look at that. We bounced a 750 alpha. You got to love that. There's that situational armor, right? It was just the right angle. Maybe hit the mantlet. I didn't pay close attention to where it hit, but that worked out nicely. I guess their Gonk has bailed. He's nowhere to be seen. He ran off a while ago, I would appear. Decent speed, though, so he's probably back around his cap somewhere. Oh, nope, he's right here. Found him. He's turning. Going to give us a nice shot into his side. That'll work. So that's a 739. Absolutely hammered him. All right, so I'm probably going to eat a shot here. I'd like to get the damage. So let's just come in here and see what we can do. Nope, he shoots the buddy. Got to swing around a little bit to get the gun where it needs to. Oh, bummer. Rush the shot a little in his little maneuver. Watch this ram. I believe he gets the kill in the ram. They killed each other. All right. Big old 116 hit on that guy. And we are up to 2 kills and 3,159. And it's just bully action at this point. Bit of a long reload, but, or sorry, zoom in. All right, there's less damage, right? So it's a further away shot. We only get, what, 530 out of that one? Mediums are beating these guys up right and left. We got some one shot, so they're taking their pound of flesh. We'll shoot this on the run. Might as well. Cut to the right. Try to cover up against the E75. We'll just keep pushing in here. Could very well lose the 2 mediums. The 4005's got hit points. He's going to delete the E75 right here, I believe. Yep, there we go. 1,684. We'll just push this guy. Shoot him on the way in for 703. Go for the ram on this fella. We get a whole 21 out of him. He's trying to not get killed. We'll just follow him, getting our reload on. Land on him a little bit. That's fun. Get hit by our own artillery. Actually, that's their artillery. Nope, that's our own artillery. Great. 4,951. So that was the big damage game I had so far in this thing. When you're running around with an 800 alpha gun, it's not that hard to come up with 3,000 damage games. That's for sure. It's 3 shots in there. 3 shots. That's not true. 4 shots. Let's put it that way. 4 shots, and you're in the ballpark, right, of 3,000. 4 shots at pen, provided you're not killing stuff that has less than 800 hit points, etc. So 4 kills, 4,900, almost 5,000, 607 assists. And just a bit of a bully, so you saw a little bit of everything there. Let's wrap this up. All right, fellas, there it is. The review of the Tier 9 Gonkiewicza, the Tier 9 Polish TD in the new Tech Tree line. I like this quite a bit. It's classified as an assault tank destroyer. As we talked about, it can absolutely do that. You've got to be able to leverage the DPM that it has close in with the old 800 close type of alpha right there. If you can do that, if you can make that happen, then you're going to have a pretty good time in this thing. Another thing I realized with this, which is nice, for the Object 279 for the second campaign, Poland is in the US and Britain line, so this brings another heavy hitter line in there for those missions that require a lot of damage. I'm kind of stuck on one right now. I need 6,500, 5 kills and a win, I believe. This is definitely a candidate for a tank that can knock out that kind of damage fairly easily, to be quite honest. Well, I say that fairly easily. I haven't managed it myself, but the possibility is there when you've got this much DPM and this high of an alpha on a tank. It's a great closeout tank close in. You're talking about guys that are 700, 800 hit points, and that's within reach of a one shot to a tank. That's pretty brutal. Very nice. You do need to work around. It's relatively slow hull traverse. You got to work around the 5 degrees per side. You got to work around the 7 degrees of gun depression, and you got to work around when you're close in the fact that you've only got 190 millimeters of armor on the front. So all those are somewhat limiting factors to what it can do. It's a good thing it doesn't have 230 or 240 or something armor, because it would be absolutely overpowered if that was the case. You did see that the hatch was a little bit of a weak spot. I haven't been tracking that too closely. Also, that guy was pinning me right there, but he was looked down on that. So that is something you might want to keep in mind, that that hatch can be pinned right there. But I like this tank, man. Fast, relatively, situational armor, great gun, close in. That's all I've got. Let me know what you think down below, and we will see you.